Hey everybody, welcome to the Rockville Barbecue channel. My name is Richard and this is my Weber kettle right over here, and today we are going to make some chicken breasts. I feel like chicken breast is one of those most difficult things to put on the grill. It's easily, you can dry it out easily, or you can undercook easily, or it can be burnt pretty easily. And I'm going to show you how I do it. If you don't know, most of you don't know. So I've lost over 70 pounds over the course of the last 2 years, and I've kept it off. And chicken breasts have been my staple of how I lost and kept all that weight off. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So stay tuned. And if you could like this video, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. The channel could really help, use some help from you guys. And let's get started. So here's my chicken breast right here. All brand new, straightened package. So what I'm gonna do first is get a cutting board. Just like this. Nice clean cutting board, okay? Now we're gonna handle chicken. You gotta handle chicken a little bit very carefully, okay? You don't want this chicken juice to get all over the place. So just be very mindful of how you handle it. I've washed my hands. You should probably wash your hands if you're gonna handle your meat without any gloves. So just make sure you are doing that. And, but anyway, so I'm gonna take this out of the package first. And let's start with one chicken breast, okay? So what I like to do is take my chicken breast just like this. I don't trim it at all. You could trim the fat if you want, but since there's very little flavor in chicken breast, I like to keep a little fat on. So don't be scared to leave it on. It's some animal fat's good for you, and it's a preference. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this as tender as I could possibly get it. So as you know, chicken breast is dry. It could be dry. It could be stiff when you cook it. So my trick is to get all the tendons in there and all the muscles to kind of separate a little bit. And so look, you can pound it. I don't want to pound it because I don't want to, break my counter or anything. But you can gently squash it out like this with a pan, or if you have a mallet. I don't have a mallet, but you can use a mallet and just press down. Okay, try to get as flat as you possibly can get it, just like this. I'm trying to hold down my cutting board as I do it. Okay, just like this. Okay, flatten it out, nice and thin. As thin as you can get, and you can cut it if you want, like cut through it like that. But I don't like doing that. I like to cook as less pieces of chicken on the grill. So just flatten it out just like that. Of course, wash your pans and stuff if you're gonna use a pan. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take a paper towel. And just since it's been in the package, I should have done this first. Just start patting it down, get all any kind of germs and grime off of it. Work with a nice dry piece of chicken like this. I might end up trimming this right here because I don't want that to burn on our grill. So that's okay. Get a knife, cut it just like that. Bam. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a fork and start piercing it all the way through, just like this. Boop. Pierce, 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 pierce. So, like I said, I've lost about 70 pounds not just eating chicken and broccoli, a lot of other things, but chicken has always been a staple in my diet. And if you have trouble with weight, like I've had in the past, you can't give up. You gotta find something that you like and just stick with it, so you can be successful in your health journey if you are on that path. So So yeah, so we poked some holes in it just like this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get another pan. So I got my chicken right here. All right, and so I'm gonna put some salt on it, do a little bit of a dry brine, where the salt's gonna absorb some of that moisture off that chicken, and that moisture is gonna actually penetrate back into the chicken, making a really nice juicy flavor inside. And it's actually gonna help tenderize the chicken inside too a little bit. You could do a wet brine if you want, but since this, I don't wanna doing a wet brine takes a little time, but this is kind of like a quick and dirty type of style of getting your chicken prepped and ready for, your week. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing like a meal prep, where I'm making all this chicken so it's kind of like ready to go as I need it. Because I use this chicken for a lot of things. Just put it in some salad, just eat it, just a regular chicken breast, or I might just put in something else that I really like. So I like to have the protein on the fly when I really need it, instead of just cooking one thing at a time for every meal, and wondering what I'm going to eat next. It's all ready to go. It makes everything so much easier, and your life so much easier if you meal prep. But this isn't like a fitness video or anything. This is more like a, maybe you're out there and you're on a path of eating healthy, and cooking on the grill is healthy. If you are careful about the smoke, and I'm going to show you how I get the Weber all prepped for that, and not to, put your food on when there's bad smoke, and that's the black smoke or whatever. But there's a healthy way of eating on the grill, and I love cooking on the grill. I rarely ever cook on the stove anymore, because it's not fun. To me, cooking on the Weber is kind of like, camping on a fire. You get that nice flavor of like hickory smoke or whatever kind of additive you want to add into it. But to me, it's like an extra ingredient, and it makes my diet more enjoyable. So yeah, you do whatever it is you do to make your life more enjoyable, or cooking. But since you're learning how to do the Weber, do the chicken on the Weber kettle, that's why you're here, and how to make good chicken on the Weber kettle. That's the key thing, and healthy. So, but anyway, I penetrated those two. I'm gonna put the salt onto these two guys right here. And I like adding the salt first. Get that salt contacted in with the meat first before I start adding my black pepper and my other seasonings that I want to add. So I'm gonna let it kind of sit there. I'm gonna put it in the fridge for about an hour. Let the salt kind of work its magic. And if you have salt issues, maybe you eliminate some of the salt, put a little bit in there. If you're on a doctor's order of eating no salt, then don't do this part. But I like a little bit of salt, not a lot. I don't like my food that salty. And you can use any kind of salt. I just use kosher salt because I think it gets more of that surface area of the chicken. Anyway, so we're gonna put this in the fridge, kind of uncovered, of course, in a safe spot in the fridge, and come back in an hour. I'm gonna put the rest of the seasonings on here. So I'm gonna let this the salt just penetrate through into the chicken breast, and let it work its magic. All right, so be right back in 1 hour. All right, 1 hour later, and you can see right here, this is what our chicken looks like. You can see that salt, you can see the water kind of bubbling up. That's all the moisture that's coming out of it. But all that's gonna be seeped back into the chicken, okay? And it's gonna make it more tenderized, okay? And look, you might see stuff like this, and that's perfectly fine, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna add some flavor onto our chicken. we're gonna make some lemon pepper flavoring, okay? To keep it simple, I'm using this Mrs. Dash. It doesn't have any salt in it. We've already put our salt in there. It's controlled salt. There's no sugar into it at all. So it's gonna keep this as simple and healthy as we possibly can get it. And we're just gonna coat our chicken breast with this stuff, just like that, okay? It smells like, you can smell the lemon right from the bottle already. And look, I'm putting the bottle nice and high so I can cover more surface area onto the chicken. All right, get it nice and coated. Get the undersides. Okay. It's so simple. You can do this. See, nothing too fancy. Just getting some store-bought seasoning. You use whatever seasoning you want. I'm using this. Very simple. Okay. You can make your own. What I would do is I'd steer away from any seasonings that have sugar in it, because that might burn on the grill, and you don't want that. Okay. And if I'm trying to make this healthy, I'm gonna steer away from that sugar today. All right, we'll get those seasonings all up in there. Look at that. So you got pepper, we got our salt in there, controlled salt, we got our lemon flavoring, and you know what? We're gonna add something a little special. All right, I'm gonna add a little juice, little lemon juice here. Okay, you can add some zest if you want, and keep it simple. Gonna add some of that juice, again, nice and high. You can add this at the end too, all right? So I'm planning on doing some hickory smoke flavorings, maybe a little cherry, because again, chicken breast isn't so flavorful as, like, you know, your dark meats, like your leg and your thigh, or the wings. So you want to pack as much flavor as you can in here. You can use fresh garlic and rub the garlic right on the chicken. But we're keeping it simple, nice and simple. All right. So now we're gonna let this sit back in the fridge for another hour, and let's go get the grill started. All right, today I'm gonna be using this B&B charcoal. It's got a little bit of oak and hickory in it already. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the charcoal and fill it to about that dot right there. We're not gonna fill it all the way up. We don't need that much heat. And we're gonna start to get the fire going. If you don't know what the B&B briquettes look like, they look like this. Nice big square briquettes compressed with all sorts of hickory and oak in there. And we're gonna add some extra smoke flavor in there in a second, but I'm gonna get our tumbleweed right here. Put it down. Ooh. We'll be back in 20 minutes. All right, 20 minutes later, and look, we got our coals all ashed over. We're gonna just dump it into our set of charcoal baskets right over there. And if you don't have charcoal baskets, you can just pile the charcoal right over here. That way you have a hot zone and a nice indirect cool zone. Okay. just like that. And some hickory. All right. All right. Now we're just gonna just shovel, not shovel, but shuffle some of this coal around. Don't be afraid of the flame. All right. We got our temperature gauge right here. And then we're gonna quickly cover our grill up like that. And we're gonna leave our vents wide open. On the top, and the bottom, right over here. All right. This indicator right here means your vent on the bottom's wide open, and we want it to be. We want to hit our temperature right around 350 to 425 degrees. All right. You see right here? Now don't mind that beeping right over here. You see all that white smoke right there? We're gonna wait till all that white smoke becomes clear. We're not gonna put our chicken right into there. We're gonna wait about another 20 minutes to let that clear up and let our internal temperature of our grill to hit that 350 to 425 range, and then we're gonna start closing the vents up on the top and the bottom a little bit, just a little bit. And we will come back in about 20 minutes. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, close to the 20-minute mark. You can see the smoke just quickly went away, and it's all nice and clear. We got that nice clear smoke coming out of there. About 417 degrees right there, or within our range. We're gonna start putting our chicken right on the grill, okay? But first thing we gotta do is make this non-stick. So what do I have here? I've got paper towel soaked in some olive oil, okay? And you can use any kind of high fat, you know, maybe you got some beef tallow that you want to use. And I'm gonna just take this fat and just wipe it onto the grill grates just like that, okay? To make it non-sticky, okay? We're gonna act a little quickly here, okay? You gotta be fast, because we don't want all that nice heat to just, once you have the grill wide open like this, we're actually making it hotter than we need to do. So I'm gonna put all my chicken right on the grill, nice spread out, just like that. You hear that sizzle? Perfect. Just try to find space, okay? Here's a big one right here. Just like that. All right. Place this guy right over there. We'll trade spots with this one. Put you right over there. Look at that. What I'm gonna do is, you might not have one of these meat probes, but if you don't, you could just kind of just put the lid down and come back in maybe 10-15 minutes and check the internal temp. So right now, all we're gonna do is just maintain our heat to between 350 and 425 degrees. And we're gonna come back in about 15 minutes and check the internal temperature of our chicken. So we'll be right back. So the main trick for cooking chicken, from my experience, to make sure it doesn't dry out, is to try to get it right at 165 internal. And that way you take it off the grill, you let it rest. It might carry over just a little bit, but if you cook a little higher than that, you might dry out your chicken, and you don't want that. So I'm just looking at this, my temperature gauge. It's kind of like beeping, but yeah. So we'll come back in about 15 minutes, check out the internal temp, and we'll see how it looks. All right. One thing I want to point out, you can see my top vent is slightly opened on the top, and on the bottom I have it right where the halfway mark. You see this mark right here? That's kind of like the halfway, like the blades on the bottom are halfway open, not all the way open as if it was over here. So right now you can see the weather isn't so windy, so I kind of gauge on how I play with my vents based on the weather. So if it was super windy, I'd probably have these a little bit, my vents a little bit towards a closed side, because you know, if I'm trying to maintain like a certain temperature, all that wind could be entering into your grill, making it more hotter than you need to. So just remember, if you're making major adjustments, use the bottom. Okay, use the bottom vent. If you're making fine-tune adjustments, use the top. Okay, and right now, every time you're using the Weber Kettle, it's almost like driving the car. You want to keep these vents steady to keep the temperature locked in. Okay, but maybe watch it every 20 minutes. Anytime you make an adjustment, it takes a while for that temperature to get to where you want it. So, but don't be so hung up on the temperature. Okay, just do your best and try to maintain it as best as you can, like I just said, and just watch your chicken. All right, let's come back in about 10-15 minutes. All right, so we're about 25 minutes in. Let's take a look at what we got going on. Look at these beautiful looking birds cooking away. Okay, so let's be a little fast here so we don't have all our heat escape us here. But let's take a look at what we are with our, oh, yep, that's hitting it. Nope, I'm gonna take that one off for sure because these are smaller pieces. That one, the 160, yep, that's a, I'm gonna take that one out too. Let's see about this one. Close. Let's go over here, check out this one. Let's get it right here, right in the back of your car right there. Oh yeah, yep, we're right there. So let's double check this guy. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, nope, 3, yep, 3 pieces of chicken breast already come out, and we're gonna leave 2 in right there, and we will come back and get the other 2 in a minute. All right, let's see what our chicken is looking like right now. Look at that, beautiful color, smells amazing. Let's see what our temperature is saying right now. 166. Perfect. Let's see this one. Yeah, that one's a little high. That's gonna be, I got a little sidetracked at home, but that's okay. That's good. That one might be a little dry, but you know what? We didn't burn it. Let's check again. Okay, not bad. It wasn't 180 like I thought. Check again. Yep. All right. We'll take our chickens. Very carefully put them down with their friends. And we're gonna take this upstairs and let all our chickens rest for about 5-10 minutes. And then we'll cut into them and see how they look. Okay, let's cut into our chicken breast and see what it looks like inside. Look at that. Not dry at all. You can see it, the juices are kind of just still in there. Outside's a little dry, but that's expected. See, look at that, cooked perfectly. Look at that, nice and moist, not too pink. That ring around is just from the hickory smoke. Nothing to be too worried about. And look, here's how I like to cut chicken breast, just nice thick like this, just down the middle. Look at that. Just like that. Look at that. Beautiful looking breast. Just like that. You could just put a little bit of, I'm putting some lime juice. I don't have any lemon juice, but you can put whatever you want on there. Nice and healthy. Looks no grill marks on there. I don't like grill marks on my chicken because I feel like the grill marks leave some burnt lines, and I don't want burnt, bitter taste in my chicken. But look at that, beautiful. See that? Cooked perfectly. And so, what I'm gonna do, I like to cube my chicken up. Just like this. And I put it all in this plastic bag right here. And this is what I use to meal prep, just like this. Just like that. You put it in the fridge, you put it on your salad, you put it on anything you like. Save it for later. We're gonna try this later on. I'm gonna tell you how it tastes. All right? Hey y'all, we're back, and I've got my salad with the chicken we just made right here. You can look at that nice and soft piece of chicken that we just made together. Look at that, falls apart just like that. Not dry at all. Let's give it a shot. Lemony, peppery, soft, tender chicken right here that we cooked on the grill together using the Weber kettle. We can cook just about anything on that thing. Wow. And it's got that little hint of hickory smoke right at the end, which is what I was looking for. But just a quick dry brine, that's it. Put some salt on there, let it sit for about an hour, then start putting your seasonings in, and then it's ready to kick it off into the grill. But I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna enjoy my lunch. You guys have a great day, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to it. Hit the like button on this video, share it around. I'd certainly appreciate it. And if there's anything else out there that you'd like for me to cook on the Weber kettle and that you're wondering on how to do, please put that in the comments below. Really like to hear from you. And y'all take care. All right, bye-bye.